There she is. Hi, Michelle.
Hi,
Hey, Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, guys. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. This is for December 7th of 2021. It's 7 o'clock. We have approval of agenda and approval of minutes, and we're going to slide in September 21st minutes. We'll do that ahead of the November 2nd ones. And then we're going to have discussion on property cleanup, and then public comment, and then adjourn. So I'll look for a motion and a second for approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second. So we have a first, a second. Since we have three on that, we'll do roll call on it.
Yep.
So
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
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 Megan?
Yep. Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? So we're moving to approval of minutes. And that's going to be approval of September 21st, 2021. I was here, Fred was here, Ronnie, Jimmy, and Megan were on that one. And we're all here tonight, so that's.
I motion to approve it. The motion.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and roll call, Jimmy?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Aye.
Fred?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Michelle? Oh, well, no, I think actually you got to abstain, that's right. You gotta
Abstain.
abstain.
Yeah.
Abstain.
All right, and then we have motion or minutes for November 2nd, 2021. This was our last one that we did. And we had, I was here, Fred, Ronnie, Jimmy, and Brian. Look for a motion, a second when you read those.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Second. So we have motion, a second. And so we got Jimmy
Yes.
and Fred,
Yes.
Ronnie,
Aye.
and Brian.
Aye.
And everybody else is abstained from that one since they weren't here. And I'm an aye on that one. Okay, moving on to, and that motion carries. Moving on to discussion of property cleanup again. We've had this discussion a little bit, and I think we're all kind of not sure what we want to do with it or how we're going to do it, approach it. I've got a couple of things I just want to say about it, and then I want to, everybody can discuss on what they want to do, but I've been looking into Bennington's and how Bennington has done some of the stuff. One of the things they do is they just go in with their zoning administrator, and they've been saying, we need to have this done. They give them some time to do it, try to work with the person on it, and then if they don't work on it, they've just been looking at finding people and pushing the issue. So it's been getting cleaned up there. Some, obviously, you're going to have some that are probably not going to want to cooperate at all. But we have properties in town that we've all been talking about. We understand it. And so one of the things I did is I listed out 4 things that I could think of. Is one, sending the zoning administrator out to the property to check it out and see what's going on with the property. So if anybody complains about a property, first step would be sending him out, let him take a look, and he would report back and kind of see what's going on. Second would be a cleanup of the property, and we'd have to put this obviously in bylaws, so that would be something, that's why we need to discuss it. But it'd be either an option of cleanup of the property, or B, an option of putting a fence up, something for a privacy fence, so it can't be seen from a visual from the roads.
That, isn't that already something to this effect already in the bylaws? As much as we can legally do? I thought it was already in the bylaws. Do you remember, Michelle?
I don't remember anything like that being put in right now, so.
It was in there. It's in there as far as you can have 3 cars and
Three
Yeah.
cars.
if you also, what
You're
you
supposed
got
to.
something you don't want seen, you can put a fence up.
But what we have is
That's
for
just for-
situation. Go
Is
ahead.
that just for personal, sorry, is that just for personal properties or businesses with cars? Like
Oh,
outside?
that's personal property. Has nothing to do
Personal.
with businesses.
Okay,
And obviously we want to give people time to do things and stuff, but this was something I think we would have to put in. And obviously this is the board to discuss it all. We have to put something in place that gives the zoning administrator an option to go out and do it. Otherwise, we're still sitting here saying, hey, that needs cleaned up, but it never gets there. So what's your guys' pleasure?
I just want to tell you what's going on with the new owner at the Alta Trailer Park. He's spent about $4,000 sending trucks in there cleaning it up. And this one's free. The next time, it's going to cost the people. Tons and tons of tires, with a lot of junk, but that's the way to do it, I think. That we go in there and the owner went in there and gave, a lot of trash taken out. Like I say, more than $4,000 worth. And next time it's on them.
Oh,
That can't work for us. As a town, we can't do that, though.
No.
We're not going to spend money. We've done that.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, we've done that in the past. But it's something that should be known that this is happening, though.
That's a smart move on his part. He's
Yes, it is.
stepped ahead, spent some money and
Yep.
it's up to the people after that.
Yep.
It ain't up to the owner. You can tell them, look, clean it up. They got to clean it up.
Yep.
Now the problem is that without some kind of a bylaw that allows for any kind of enforcement, we can't have any enforcement anyway. So we have to have something to at least say we need to have, or we want to try to clean this up. If we don't have it in the bylaws, it's just not going to happen.
limits. What would be, one man's junk is another man's, that whole thing.
What happens a lot.
Limits. What would we say that, how could we, without taking away people's liberty and their property rights and so forth, what could we say?
Put a fence around it.
Okay,
I mean, you got the car bylaws. The rest is something that's unseemly. If you live out in the woods, no one's really going to care, like I do. But I think that if you're seeing it from the road, you can put a fence around it.
Right. I'm looking at visuals,
we
all
have
visuals.
these terrible people out right on 7,
I know.
Recalcitrant guy, and you really think you're gonna get him to clean up by putting it in the bylaws? I just wonder what would be affected.
Well, he owns some trailers down in Alta Trailer Park. So they tell me he took a lot of rubbish out of there, but I can't, and took it down there and got it taken away for free. So, I don't see it, but evidently he did.
Yeah.
I know.
so would it be something where a complaint comes in and then the zoning administrator goes down and says we'll just arbitrate, you have 30 days to clean it up. If they don't clean it up, there's a fining system. How often do they get fined before it escalates to another level?
I'm thinking,
I think that's where they're talking about the bylaw.
Yeah,
You got a fine. You're going to have to give them so much time and so
Right.
much fine.
yeah, that's what I was trying to put. So what do
You
you
gotta
guys?
have something in writing. You can't just say, well, we're going to do this with one person.
Right.
No. So that's what I'm saying is what does everybody think we should do as far as times and fines.
Well, I think that's probably something we'll have to set. We could set it to put into it. And if it's agreed upon, and that's
Yeah,
what the
but
times will be,
what?
so.
Michelle is asking, what are we talking about?
I mean,
Well,
normally 30 days is
days,
a tip. Yeah,
2
I mean, 30
months?
30 days is a typical amount of time for most things. You know, people usually get 30-day notice on something. So after 30 days, what does everybody think is a
You know what happens a lot is people just don't want to take stuff to the
The
dump.
dump.
So they put a sofa out by the road with a sign that says free, and it'll sit there for months,
Getting
soaking
wet.
up the weather. And at some point, it's just solid waste. It's solid waste.
Yeah.
That's
Would
all
you
it
find
is.
in Bennington?
What about, is there, I don't want to, it can sound like an old softy, but how much truth is there in that people are always telling me they can't afford to take it to the dump. Can we give them some kind of a break at the dump? I mean, we can't give them money like the guy at Alta Gardens, for the owner, but can we?
Once a year, you have a cleanup, right?
That's true, we do, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have the free dump day.
Yeah.
It was like a festival.
Right.
I mean, it's like the road would be blocked for miles.
I understand there's a lot of people that probably can't afford to do a lot, but the dump really isn't that expensive when you
No,
have
I know
to
it.
clean
I-
up
I
the
go
cost
there
of
all the
both.
time.
I mean, if they can run out and spend it on other things, and they have this mess around it, but it has to be determined by the zoning administrator, because not everything's trash.
Right.
What he would have to determine is if it's a physical trash, or is it just something, somebody's got their stuff that they like there.
Something, yeah, that's of value to somebody.
One possible thing we could do is some kind of a voucher
Yeah.
for it to bypass the need for a dump sticker, a membership to take stuff to the dump. Just give them a
But that's
voucher
what I
for one day only.
Yep, you can do that.
Yeah.
Or
Right, so
do
that way,
like a quarterly voucher for some people, just to, like once a year is tough. I mean, come on, you do spring cleaning at your house and you're just like, Jesus, how did it get like this?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we could do as far as, I don't know what the town has for vehicles either, is like, if we do like a free dump day, but then you got people that say, well, I can't get it there because I only have like a Honda Civic. Is there somewhere we could have, like dump points set up at Alta Vista or whatever, and then we have town trucks and try to get a volunteer thing to load them up to get them to the dump to make it easier for people? I mean, because there's a lot of elderly people.
Take it out of their welfare check.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would work.
What does Bennington do?
Yeah, that's gonna ask.
You talk to Bennington. I more or less would like to talk to other towns,
Right,
something like Shasberry, Stanford, some towns that are somewhere near us. They got a municipal fire department.
Right.
I don't know if they pay them people, but they got a fire department. I mean, a police department, they pay and everything. We don't have any of that stuff.
well, another
More
option's,
principle to work with, and they get a lot more money toward grants.
Yep.
And all that stuff. We don't get that.
right,
So let's deal with towns that do get something like we do. I go through Stanford up there. I mean, Shasberry up there. It's clean. It's nice. I mean, it ain't trash all over the place.
Yeah, I travel around up through all the towns in the county, and there's nothing like Pownell. It's like the garbage.
another option,
Yeah.
another option is what they were saying is they would add things to their town taxes. So if they had to pay on it to get it cleaned up, they could add that to that and collect that over months of time. So it's not like they had to pay it all at once. They could pay that back, and pay it out as a town pay on their taxes.
my
So they could
understanding is there's a lot of people-
get a monthly payment.
Aren't there a lot of people who pay almost no taxes and are delinquent on their taxes for years at a time?
Certainly.
Well, yeah.
That's what I hear. I don't,
Yeah, I pay 18,000. That's all I know. That's enough to clean up a few yards. Just in taxes.
I pay 11.
So, come on, folks.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a factor of, do we want to clean the town up, or do we want to keep is talking about it, so we have to put something in place.
We just have to incentivize somehow.
You know, for people that don't have the means, a lot of people don't have even an idea about recycling. Recycling is free at the dump. If you take the time to do composting and recycling, it costs you nothing to separate all your garbage.
Just gotta
And
get it.
they don't know. Maybe they need some education on, some education resources. The, your teacher, Megan,
I
you
don't
can
think
teach
that's-
people.
I've been trying that one. I don't think that's the issue. I think people know.
Yeah, they know. Little black bags had too many valuable things in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, what can we?
We've been talking about this for a long, long time. And it's before us tonight. And I like Ronnie's idea to go to some town that's like us. And looks pretty clean and they handle it.
See how they do it. And if they handle it right away, let's handle it right away. Somebody's got a small pile of rubbish there, or they got something that's out of the way, let's do something about it. Don't wait until they got 10 cars and then say, oh, geez, you know what? We got to do something about this guy.
I don't think cars is the main.
I don't think
issue.
cars is.
I think
No,
I think it's
bags of
mostly
garbage.
rubbish and stuff.
Yeah, bags of garbage and sofas and furniture that wasn't made for outside. And it's just kind of melted in the rain.
When you're seeing lots of plastic bags and that kind of stuff,
That's just
it's
rubbish.
getting to the point.
A lot of people are also dumping in the woods and they're dumping
Yeah.
over the bank, wherever, anywhere they see, it's easy to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that just got done with the select board now is
Yeah.
fines for dumping. I think they just went through that.
That should be,
Yeah, they came up with this fine if somebody happens to throw a coffee cup out their window or something. But I'm not totally for what they came up with, but still in all, you got to have something.
Right.
To set a precedent to do something. I came back from
Who's gonna
Williamstown
enforce it?
today, and there was a big bag of trash right
Yes.
there on the bridge, right at Cozy Corner.
Yep.
They come off some truck.
Sure did. I don't
Come on,
understand.
why is this happening?
You guys had a nice meeting the other night about it and you put fines and things
Yeah,
like
that's it.
covered. I see trucks coming through not covered
Yeah,
from Williamstown, rubbish trucks.
yeah.
And I don't know. Obviously, you're not afraid of anything.
if you got the fines, follow through with them and have the fine so be something that hurts,
But who's gonna enforce it?
There you go.
We don't even have a constable. I mean,
Yeah.
We got a sheriff.
We pay the sheriff's
We pay the
department.
sheriffs to do something.
Yeah, we have sheriff's department for it. Just zoning administrator himself can still go out and put out fines for that. I mean, as far as enforcement goes on it, it's him going.
How do you get the fines? I mean,
how do you collect them?
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you might
that's-
be able to-
well,
you just
again,
say
that's
one
how-
word or go over
Has to
your
go through the
fine.
courts.
Well, how Bennington would do that is they attach it to them and they hit it with taxes, hit it on their tax bill. That's how Bennington's been doing them.
tax the property.
Eventually, how many years do people have to be in arrears before you take the property? Because you can just keep finding them and putting it on their taxes and it still not get paid. And then it's just costing the town anyway in administrative costs.
I believe it's 2 years here before
Okay.
treasurer starts that.
Okay.
But not if they're making payments.
If you're making
They
payments
can
or
be
work
making
out
payments, they
something,
can be
right.
back 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Yep.
If
We
nothing.
have a very sad state of affairs for this, but you should have something set up that initially goes after the people right away to start with. Do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'll call or check around. I'll stop up and check if people want me to do that. I'll go up and check some other towns, check Sashbury and stuff and see what they're doing too.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We can bring that back to another meeting on that.
We should. We got to see how it's working in other places. It ain't working here.
Right.
We warn people, we tell them, we threaten them and all that stuff, and nothing happens.
We've let them go too many years. Years.
That's right.
I think Pownell has, in general, a little bit too much of a handle with care attitude. And we're forgiving people for their sins a little bit too much and too easy. Coming up with excuses for them, or they can't afford it, or they don't know any better. But I don't think we need to have that forgiving attitude as much.
The thing is valuable, you know, we're trying to put people's heads into your property is valuable. There's people that are coming here from all over the place and they're looking at us.
Yeah.
They look at our schools, we look at this and tax, and then they see rubbish places. And they say, I don't think I want to live here.
Right.
And that's, and along Route 7, that's the classic place to look at.
Terrible, at least
You're coming in from the north, you gotta go buy it.
You've got to go buy it. And people go to Bennington every day and they look at it and it gets,
Well, we've become numb to it, but if somebody comes here to visit
That's
somebody
it.
on Barbers Pond Road or something, they come down Route 7, and the first thing they ask the guy, how the hell do you live with that mess up there? And what answer have we got? Nothing.
And we have nothing on the books as far as cars with businesses either. Because I mean, coming up from Williamstown, I mean, I know he's your relative, but you know, now that he's got the garage there, you go by and it just there's like 30 cars, and then same thing, go down to what is it, Jellies or something, like 100 cars. It looks terrible coming in from Williamstown. I know they're businesses, but they really should have up some sort of fencing.
You're very right, they are businesses. And
Yeah.
there's cars come in and out.
Yeah,
If you look at them cars, take a picture one week and then go back and take a picture next week and see the same cars ain't there.
yeah, but
Different
still,
cars.
yeah, different cars, but
They're
still
in for repair. That's what they're in for,
get it, but
on the-
it's still
on the
looks-
business thing. It's like Stewart's. There's a lot of cars go in there, but they
Yeah.
come and go. Even Jimmy's at noontime, a lot of cars parked there. What are you gonna say?
So
It's a
when you
business.
talk about fencing,
I-
so you're saying businessmen don't want to put up a fence, and they possibly, you would think they have some money. So some guy, some person with a lousy looking yard isn't going to have the money to put up a fence either. I mean,
well,
Mm-hmm.
the closer you get to Williamstown, that area there, you come across the line. If you go on the other side of Williamstown, there's the first junkyard right there, the first house on the right, by Steiner Film. But I think everybody kind of
Yeah,
close to the line there, except Stewart's, and the liquor store, the people, Gary and
Repair
Bizon.
shops.
That's kind of just the business of Pownell. And people expect it. They're going, no one seems to care going into Stewart's getting gas,
No.
buying tickets or whatever, you know. It's Pownell right there, right there.
but what further up the hill? Ugh.
I know. That's different up there. And I have to say, you know, I'm proud of the lady that bought, you know, next door.
Yeah, that was
We'll see how long she, you know, Johnny Chapman's.
quarter.
what is she doing with it?
What did she do with what?
With the
people
place-
about, the people about Chapman's?
Yeah, I haven't been home, so I
Oh,
don't.
okay, what she is in the snowboard business.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of a nice thing to start out with.
Oh, that is great.
It does say, you know, it does say a lot of things in 10 or 20 years. Winchester's won't be there. Probably the store above won't be there. There'll be Dollar General and Stewart's, you know, in the liquor store. But, you know, when you see, we're talking about big business, but when you see that, the Roost being sold to someone in a little business, like that could be my store, that could be Jelly's next door, that could be the land next to me, there's 10 acres. That's the kind of thing I think is going to happen in Pownell.
It
If
is.
someone wants to come somewhere and start a little business and take over these businesses that are over and done with, more or less. I can't see, you know, too many more small stores being anybody wanting to work them. So that's the future of Pownell, I think. And but that's not going to happen tomorrow. But it's on its way. There's a lot of things going on in Pownell that are very positive,
Oh, God, yeah.
very positive. But we're still the 7 corridor and the 346 corridor. People travel that the most.
Yeah.
And, You know what happened the other day with the truck dropping stuff? So much traffic goes through Funnel down 346. These trucks, you don't know what they're carrying.
Well, 346 is a major truck.
Major truck route to the
Sure.
port, to Albany, to the airport.
To get down to Troy and Albany, that's the best way to
That's the
go.
road.
346, get on
I
hit
don't
22.
think 346 looks bad, though. I don't see a lot of trash on well, there's litter.
Well, I'm just talking about truck traffic, you know, that's a major, you know, it's gonna
Well,
be,
you don't see really trashy houses along there.
well,
It's pretty,
it's, I know. Time will take care of that.
some places, yeah.
Somebody pays their taxes on it. Let's go, I'm gonna tell you, you know, you look at a place and you say, who the hell's paying taxes on that place? On the back road there, the girl that lived there forever next to, anyway. Somebody pays the taxes on it. And what we're gonna be in the future is take property that's abandoned trailers, that are the 50s and 60s, and they don't pay their taxes, and the town's gonna have to say, oh, wait, guess what? We just own that.
Yeah,
What do we do with it?
Right.
They got one down at Burdick Trailer Park now.
can't do it, can't get rid of it.
Can't get rid of it.
You
Mess.
gotta go for an asbestos checkup on it first, thousands of dollars.
Yeah. It's the future. We
So
can't get
what
the
about-
racetrack
what
straightened out.
about- Okay, so guys, back to the bylaws. What should we be, you know, what do we want to say? In
I
whatever.
think we more or
bylaw?
less, I think we more or less said, when he opened up, then he went to Bennington and kind of gave us a clue with what one town does. But as Ronnie says, it's a big town
Right.
and they get a lot of money from different places where we don't. I think he's going to go out and try and find what towns like Shaftesbury and Foxbury.
Look at their bylaws.
Yeah.
Look at their bylaws and kind of use that as a template for ours.
Yes,
What
yes.
about, is Rebecca still working for the
Rebecca-
Dragon?
I'm not sure.
Maybe we get-
I know she was looking into grants. I mean, is there some sort of cleanup grant that we can get?
I'm sure every town in Vermont wants one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably something out there. We could look into that.
Yeah.
I think the bigger part is we really don't have anything in our bylaws to go after that stuff. We've discussed it, but there's nothing really written. As far as cars, they've taken care of that. I think you got 3 cars unregistered, could be on a property. But we don't have anything in there to say about the trash. We just don't, we need to have something in it. I don't remember anything being in it.
We would need to, I'm having trouble with definitions, how we would define trash. Because we're gonna get our heads bit off. So, you know,
I know.
just.
You said it earlier.
Okay, we can say household
Furniture that was built to be used inside and is currently out on the middle of the lawn,
Okay,
that's trash.
Mattresses and things of that nature,
Washing machines, dryers,
washing
sofas,
drivers.
stuff that, overstuffed furniture all sitting out there in the rain. What good's that do?
Yeah.
Stuff
Stephanie,
that be in the house and it's outside.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Do what you want with it.
I mean, if we look at things that are already on Route 7, we've discussed this many times, is down here at Pat Gray's place. There's where they did the outside sales and stuff. When he came to us to do it, he wanted to clean it up, put a pavilion and all that kind of stuff in. I don't think anybody on that board has a problem doing that. It's just the fact is that it came to us at, I think, with the wrong plan. He didn't really have it laid out right. So since then, everything's been sitting. There's tarped over some stuff out there, but there still is, if you drive by, anybody could drive by it and see it. It's still a mess out there, and below the trailer is a mess. And I think there's a bunch of debris from remodeling the trailer that he just threw outside. That's the kind of stuff I think that we're looking at is going to be trash. As far as an idea, or garbage, bad garbage.
so I have a neighbor who piles up construction debris on his property. It's got a gigantic pile. It's too big for a bonfire and it's But, it's, so you don't really see it. But where do we draw the line is my question.
I think you have to have a complaint would help a lot.
Right.
And I think maybe the neighbor might have a nice place next door to them and say, I have to put up with this. But it has to happen from them. They have to complain to somebody. And
Yeah, I think it would be
that's-
follow up on a complaint.
Yes, that would start the ball rolling. If
Well,
people
we
would
should
complain.
be sure we have the authority to follow up with it
Right.
though. Because again, you see a business that has a bunch of cars and they're a repair business, but somebody might look at it and think that they're looking at a salvage yard, but they're not really. But no, people can't decide, this car is a piece of junk, it's salvage. It's like, it's being parted out. It's not really, but
Oh,
know.
no, if you've got an old car,
you can't leave that, for people's own, individual interpretations.
So we got household garbage, we got, what was that word? You used a phrase, goods, some kind of goods,
Solid waste.
so
waste, household goods that.
stuff that was built for inside.
Or
I
stuff.
think you said you have something like uncovered, things that are just uncovered and are just getting rid.
Sofas, chairs, things of that nature, made for inside. TVs,
Washing machines, refrigerators, freezers.
Rained on.
I mean,
Every table with all that junk on it.
Yeah.
5
I mean,
years left
a
on
lot of it, I think a lot of it could be discretion of zoning at the time. If he goes out there and says, okay, this don't look like all trash, this looks like it's somebody's got some stuff stored here, that's his discretion on it. He just writes it up as what it is. But if he goes there and sees rats running around and there's bags of garbage laying there, obviously it's trash and he just claim it as trash.
You know the places where they dump.
Outside. Oh, yeah, that too. But I'm saying something is stored outside.
Put a fence around it.
And it's not so. It needs a roof over it.
Well, I know, but hey, they still dump on the Burrington Road. There's one pull off there, and I see when I'm coming down 7, I see the garbage down there.
And that's why I said like a fence, because if they say, well, I don't want to clean it up, that's my stuff, and people are going by complaining about it, then it's the second step would be putting a fence up to take the visual away from people going by seeing it.
And that
And
would be
that's the only
better.
way you can keep the stuff there without having more complaints.
How do we enforce putting in a fence?
Yeah, that's my question.
I don't know why there's more people complaining, like across the street from up here on Route 7. If you want to sell your house, wouldn't that take away the value of it, being across the street?
I mean, you talk to people and they complain, but they're not going to they're not going to go to the trouble of going to the town and.
Maybe they should. It's their property value, right?
Yeah.
Can you really hurt somebody's property value? That's a good case, though. You own a piece of property and you want to sell it. It's time. You're getting older, and you got a mess across the street. Isn't that a legitimate thing to say that I'd like to see this cleaned up? It's the value in my property.
It just seems like people. I remember an old lady. I forget her name, but she older than I am then, who used to at the town meeting. She stood up and there's a mess this town looks, and she'd say her piece at the town meeting, and then next year, same thing.
Well, maybe we're moving on a little further down the line.
Yeah.
Maybe that was 4 or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Today is today. We want to start now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we need to, it's a hard thing to enforce.
I know it is. We're all saying it.
Yeah.
But
I
we've been
think
at,
it's gonna,
And it's
took us
hard to-
23 years to build a town hall.
Go ahead, Brian.
so I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think part of the question is going to end up being how much stomach is the taxpayers going to have?
Yeah.
Because ultimately you're going to be fighting a lot of this in court. We've
Mhm.
already gone through it with Gray, and there's been other property owners where the
Mhm.
town has gone to court and lost and spent substantial money in court fees. So how much are the taxpayers going to be willing to spend to try to clean up properties and chance losing in court and then having to pay the legal fees for these other property owners?
I always thought that just put on the money, as much money as we need. We got some money coming in from somewhere, right? You guys talk about it at the selectmen's meeting? There's,
Something.
The, something with the COVID,
yes.
Yeah, we got infrastructure money.
ARPA funds.
Well, isn't culvert a disease? Isn't rubbish a disease? No, seriously. I mean, if you want to take some money somebody's giving us, put it there for legal fees so we can fight these cases, win or lose. We're setting a precedent.
So I
Have
don't
to
know
go
if
after
you can
somebody.
use the
That's
ARPA
the
funds
point,
for
is
legal.
setting the precedent of doing something.
Yes,
If
I'm
all
not
you're gonna do is talk about it, there ain't no sense of doing it.
but you got to put money away.
I'm not sure, but to answer Brian, one thing I was thinking of like that is, when it happened in the past, we all know the case that happened when the town got sued, or most people do know that. At that time, there was no bylaws either about it. It was just going there saying, hey, we want you to clean this up. There's nothing really there to enforce it because there wasn't nothing in the bylaws. So way I'm looking at it is if we put something in there, at least we have something that says, even if we has to go to court, we said, this is our bylaws now. We can give them a copy of the bylaws. If we have to clean it up, we could say, this is what our bylaws say. This is what you're going to have to start doing on the property. That in court would be better than going there and say, well, we just didn't like it. We wanted it cleaned up. I
Okay,
think that's
so-
where they were in the past.
I get
That's
that.
good. So then what we should do right now, or at least maybe do it as homework, is, each of us come up with our little list of what we
So
like to see in the bylaw.
So I just want to point out to everybody that you can't make laws specifically targeted toward one individual property owner. And with all the discussion that
Laws.
has gone on tonight and in the past about the specific property owner on Route 7, any bylaws that the town attempts to pass and then enforce on that property owner, he's going to have a really good case against the town for discrimination. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea to try to go after to clean up property owners, but I'm just saying you can't start with something like that. You're going to have to enforce it uniformly across the town.
Right.
We're not going to be able to pick and choose. So just in that respect, it's going to be a massive battle. And if everybody just says, I'm not paying, the town's going to have to spend a lot of money and a lot of time on court fees. I'm just saying, be prepared because I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I would like to have as in the bylaws is it's uniform for every place. If it's on a complaint, not going to say, hey, just because we passed it, we're going to go to that one site. If it comes in as a complaint, it could be another half a year down the road before somebody complains again. But if it comes in as a complaint, that's when we'd start that process after the bylaws would be passed.
Maybe some kind of a soft start would be,
So the complaint would need to come from the public, then you're saying, John? That would be what would start the whole process?
I'm thinking of a abutter, a neighbor.
Mhm.
Like I'm saying, my property is devalued by this garbage here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a legitimate complaint.
Well, so
But-
we would need to put that, in the paper of record or whatever, that these are the new bylaws and that people should complain if,
Okay.
I don't know,
To what Jimmy said about the COVID money. Okay.
ARPA,
I
whatever.
really don't want to piss it away on lawyers' fees.
No.
So is it a fund? It's set. So we put in rules in the bylaws. There can be a fining system that typically goes nowhere. If it's something where it's a health hazard, say it's bags of trash and that kind of stuff, then from the fund, we have the town go in and physically clean it up. If you can't get the owner to do it, use those funds to clean it up. If it's an eyesore type of thing with vehicles, use that fund to put in a mandatory fence because fencing is listed in the bylaws. You're not going to want to just I've been in enough court battles where the only ones that make the money are the lawyers. So be more sensible to use the funds to be proactive of actually getting it cleaned up instead of going to court and losing anyway and still having the problem of the trash.
Good
If
point.
there's COVID funds out there like we're supposed to be getting, we need to set aside amount for these types of cleanup.
I think starting out by somehow providing some resources for people to get rid of stuff,
Yeah,
Yeah,
providing an incentive to do it without pushing them to the edge,
yeah,
without being heavy-handed about it. Just be nice going in
yeah.
and
Yeah.
ratchet it up as you need to.
Right, and that's kind of, that's what I'm saying, is that's what I think we need to have something in place like that. And even like Jimmy said, if they go in, like the owner did down there, just go in and say, let's clean it up. It's gonna take us a couple grand, whatever, we gotta clean this place up. We do it one time, after that, that's on them. But at least we took attempt, that's not an issue.
I imagine the new owner of the Alta Gardens did more than just clean it up. He probably put out a notice that
oh,
this
yes.
won't happen again, or you won't
Sure.
be here.
There's a lot of rules, a
Right.
lot of evictions,
Yeah.
things. But he's the new owner. Plus he raised the rent.
Good.
Good.
No, he's got the ideas
Yeah.
and,
Well, I know in the bylaws, for mobile parks, I think they need to provide for rubbish removal.
yeah,
They need
we
to.
do. Yeah, we do. 200 tires, one little truck park, once.
Oh, yeah, remember the time we got him out of the woods over and
Yep.
he had over 200 tires, well over.
Yeah.
Like 250.
Okay, so what I'm thinking about is, how about everybody, if you come up with anything, write it down.
Okay,
Any ideas that you have for that, how you would like to see it proceed? I'm gonna check into some other towns around, find somebody that's comparable to what we're dealing with. And we'll bring that back to the board. I gave you that information. We'll discuss this again. And then we can get, everybody has an idea. We'll put it on the table and decide what we want to have in it and kind of write something up about it. And
Could be an ongoing discussion on our agenda for
Right.
every meeting.
right, ongoing discussion, just to try to, at least we can get something on paper here of ideas that work.
okay, can
Gotta
I,
come up with a plan from these other towns that are similar to us to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll get some of that
I'm
information
sure that they're
together.
not spending a ton of money.
Right,
First of all, I don't think they have it.
No.
Maybe Shasbury's got a few dollars, but Stanford and places like that, they're not loaded with money.
No.
Reedsboro and all them places, they're not loaded with money. So I'm sure that they're not spending a lot of their own capital. But I'm sure they have some kind of program set up. And I don't mind, helping somebody who is poor.
right,
But that's we used to have overseers of poor.
Right.
Now everybody's poor.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Yeah.
right. No, like I said, put it together on paper and then we can move forward on that. I will get information to bring back as far as some other towns, how they're operating with it, so we can at least get something together on this.
Megan, people on the planning board, we've been on for a long time talking about. The bottom line is enforcement. You can talk and talk and talk, but Parma really doesn't have any enforcement. And much as Brian says, it's a legal battle a lot of times.
well, but Brian has a point. If you have a zoning administrator who throws his weight around or her weight around and offends people,
That's happened in the past. Yes, yes. I talked to Mr. Gray one time, and he said a lot of times I do things to aggravate a couple of selectmen. And that's the case.
all right, well, okay, I think that's a great plan, though, and if people write it down themselves and bring it to the next
That sound good?
Yep.
Yeah.
meeting, what they think should happen from the towns.
What that list of.
Yeah.
Because we have quite a few laws on it already as far as the zoning goes.
Right.
It could be pursued, period, without us worrying about passing more laws. But we gotta figure out some way to go about doing it that we can, I don't wanna crucify anybody. All I want them to do is kind of clean up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all.
For their own values.
That's
Their own
and
values.
also for, I got properties in the town too. Some of them ain't overlooking such nice places.
No,
I ain't up there bitching about it.
no, you go drive by every day. We all do. And we've been doing it for a long time.
All right, so that's what we'll do on that. Let's move on. Any public comment?
I hope.
Nobody?
Okay.
Okay.
No one cares about us.
Jimmy's trying.
So that's what we'll do. We'll come together on that. Get something together. If you want to write something down, go ahead, Megan.
I had one thing that the person from the Department of Transportation in Massachusetts, who is heading up the study on the Northern Tier passenger service on the trains, sent me a notice of a meeting on December 16th from 1:30 till 3. It's a Zoom meeting. I can send forward the information if anyone wants it. If anyone can do that, if anyone is interested.
Are you going to it?
You're going?
I signed up, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I'll last. But,
We're all interested, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Anything,
okay, so the thing is,
Someone can attend it regularly, is attend it and take some notes, send it along to you.
they're still at this point, they're only talking about, ultimately Boston to North Adams. So that we're not talking yet about moving. They mentioned Albany at one point earlier, your Eagle, but that wasn't in the email that I just got.
No,
So, yeah,
till they lay another track.
I'm thinking that we really, if we are at all interested as a town, we should express it to them and to New York State. Because just sitting here waiting for something to happen isn't going to get us anything.
No.
Megan, do it wholeheartedly. Express interest. I'm interested.
I'm not
Send
gonna-
me I'll take the link, Megan.
Okay, good. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just send it to your personal email?
Yeah, just send it to my personal. I haven't got the town one set up. Megan, help me with that.
I have a hard time with the
Working
town.
on it, hopefully tomorrow.
That's okay.
My computer it keeps telling me it's a suspect. Town email is suspect.
Suspect. Like that.
Could be a bad actor.
Okay, now one other thing too is we would normally have a meeting for, what was it, Megan, the 21st?
Yeah, the 21st.
So we'd have a meeting on the 21st. I'm thinking about, I've been very busy at home. I don't know how everybody else is. Do we want to have that meeting or wait till after the 1st? I know I'm going to be very busy to try to make that meeting.
Holidays.
Christmas time, yeah.
That week.
Yeah.
It's real close to it, so if we could just pawn that off and
Yeah.
that'll give me more time to get some more information, so.
Yeah.
So we'll shoot for January then.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And we have one
So the first
agenda item
Tuesday in January?
for the next agenda. We have one item already is the
The discussion.
discussion property cleanup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make sure Megan gets that in for January.
I can also report back whatever I learn on this.
Yeah.
That'll be incentive to stay in the Zoom meeting.
If you get that information, send it over to Megan on it, and then she can
Okay.
send that out to everybody.
Yep.
All right, I'll accept a motion for
Adjourn.
adjournment. So everybody's all set?
Yeah, second. We're out of here.
I'm sure it's,
Hey, we all got our frustrations.
all in
vented.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, you guys have a good night.
You
Have a good
too.
night.
Sure.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice holiday.